Hello and welcome back to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Ethan and I will be your solo dolo host tonight. Josh had some work come up that he couldn't avoid, and I don't know what happened to Ryan, but probably dead. So tonight I get the distinct pleasure of going through the injury report with you guys. Playoffs are right around the corner, so please stay up to date on injuries. It's Saturday night. Hopefully, this comprehensive list should be enough for you to set your lineup. I'll do my best to kind of not drone on and give you fantasy relevant advice. And without further ado, I'm going to kick it off with my boys in red, the Atlanta Falcons. Thankfully, other than the major injuries they've had in the secondary, they're looking pretty healthy. Looks like the only one even on the report that's notable is Cordero Patterson, and they're just resting him because he's, old as dirt. Other than that, some defensive guys are out. The only key one that matters is Arnold Ebiketie, who is questionable. But ultimately, this should be a pretty good matchup. I'm looking forward to watching. Moving on to the Baltimore Ravens, looks like Kyle Hamilton is still questionable. Keep an eye on that if this defense has a lot of injuries because Marlon Humphreys also might be out as well. He's listed as questionable. He was a full participant on Friday, though, but still, you never know with this type of stuff. Looks like also showing up on the list is Ronnie Stanley, so that could be a potentially rough injury for the Baltimore Ravens. Going forward, Buffalo Bills played on Thursday, so if you're looking forward to injury report on them, uh, go listen to the Drake song. It's too late. But moving on to the Chicago Bears, we got a lot of injuries here, specifically on defense. Brisker's out to a concussion. Kyle Gordon is out as well to a concussion. And then it looks like Simeon is going to be out as well with that oblique injury. I believe I saw he showed up on IR and that he's done for the season. So who knows what they're going to do if they can't get Justin Fields back. But something to monitor. I don't know who their third string QB is, and I don't think I want to know. So I would avoid Chicago Bears QBs unless it's one named Justin Fields. Moving forward, the Cincinnati Bengals. Looks like Jamar Chase is coming back. He's still listed as questionable against Kansas City, but he's one of those guys that if he's playing, you're starting him. So stay up to date. Get up early Sunday morning. Do yourself a favor. Check the injury report. See if Jamar Chase is going to play or not. I believe they're one of the afternoon games. So you have a little bit of time. You don't have to wake up super early, but definitely check the injury report for him. Looks like they're getting Leo Collins back. Looks like he showed up but was just resting. And then Joe Mixon is still questionable with a concussion. So that's something to keep your eye on. Going to the Cleveland Browns, looks like a lot of resting. The only one that is still out is David Njoku with his knee injury. Looks like everyone else is going to be there. The Dallas Cowboys, looks like another trend of injured defensive players. I'm seeing Anthony Barr is questionable. Trevon Diggs is questionable. It looks like Michael Gallup is questionable with an illness, excuse me. And Demarcus Lawrence showed up, but it looks like he's going to play. So that'll be good for them to have that entire D line in full effect. The Denver losers, looks like a lot of nobody's out. KJ Hamler looks like is going to be out with that hamstring injury. And Jonathan Harris as well as dealing with a knee injury. Other than that, they got a few defensive guys here, but it looks like they're all going to play. Jerry Jeudy is still questionable. So again, wake up early tomorrow. Make sure you check that, as well as Cortland Sutton, before you start them in your lineup, which I don't know why you'd be starting Jerry Jeudy with Russell Wilson calling audibles from the Seattle Seahawks. But hey, to each their own. Moving forward to the Detroit Lions, looks like Evan Brown is going to be out with that ankle injury. But other than that, it looks like they have everybody back. It looks like Jeffrey Okudah had a concussion, but he was full participant, so he could be trending towards playing. Frank Ragnow is going to be playing, it looks like, and same with Penny Sewell. So that should be great for Detroit. They got a big game this week versus Jacksonville. So that one actually should be a good one. If you're not going to watch that Jacksonville-Detroit game, you're going to be missing out because it's going to be two young teams on the come up trading blows. So I would check it out. Moving on to the Green Bay Packers. Looks like Bakhtiari is still out with an illness. So that's something to watch. A.J. Dillon is also here on the injury report. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this running back room with both of them here on the injury report, missing their starting offensive tackle. Something to watch. I don't know if you have another option at running back, but I would consider maybe looking at the waiver wire, maybe seeing who's on your bench. Because if you're missing two tackles and it looks like Elgington Jenkins is potentially not playing. He was a DNP and limited with a knee injury, so something to watch. Other than that, Romeo Dubs might make an appearance. So all you Christian Watson truthers might be coming to an end. I don't know. We're going to have to see. Keeping on to the Houston Texans. Looks like Rex Burkhead is questionable. Not too fantasy relevant. Brandon Cooks is out, though, officially with a calf injury. So make sure you pull him out of your lineup. And if you have Amari Cooper, I would go ahead and start him because Derek Stingley is going to be out with a hamstring injury. So Amari Cooper and DPJ as a flex option are going to be potentially very, very good. The only other thing is Nick Chubb. Make sure you put in Nick Chubb because this Houston Texans run defense has been atrocious. Going on to the Indianapolis Colts, looks like Kenny Moore is going to be out. So that's going to be a tough loss for them in the secondary, as well as Isaiah Rodgers potentially being questionable and not playing. Things to watch, maybe if you have CeeDee Lamb, you're probably looking at a good day if their top two corners are out. This also might be flex consideration for Michael Gallup. He looked great last week, so we might keep that going against an injured Indianapolis Colts secondary. And now for the Jacksonville Jaguars, looks like ETN with that foot injury. I believe Doug Peterson said he's good to go, and that he said he was good to go. Still something to watch just in case. And then also Zay Jones is showing up with a chest injury. Not too sure what's going on with that. I know he had that big performance. So maybe take him out of the flex. It could have just been a flash in the pan, especially with him being injured. It might limit some of his touches. Now to the Kansas City Mahomeses. Looks like the only one out still is Kadarius Toney. I'm seeing everyone is a full participant other than that. So for everyone who traded for Kadarius Toney, I'm really sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully he's back soon and feeling better. And then up next, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. A lot of questionables. A couple guys out. Let's see if anyone noticeable. Doesn't look like it. So Derek Carr is doing good. He's shown as full participant all week as of Wednesday. I'm not sure what happened Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday, or sorry, Monday or Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he was full. Also, Josh Jacobs with that calf injury, he's been limited all week. That could be a potentially limiting thing for him in terms of touches and carries. So something to watch. Might be a flex consideration. Throw another running back in at RB2. But just something to watch. And they're going up against, looks like the Chargers. So I wouldn't even consider pulling out Josh Jacobs for being limited. This Chargers run defense, like Houston, has been just dreadful this season. Speaking of the Chargers, looks like Derwin James is out. Or no, Derwin James is in. He was having a hip injury, but he logged 2 full participations on Thursday and Friday. So he will be in, but Corey Linsley is out. So that is their starting center. They were able to do fine last week, but, this could spell trouble for Austin Eckler, something to watch. Other than that, Mike Williams is still out. And in terms of fantasy relevancy, that's what's going on with them. On to the Los Angeles Rams. Aaron Donald is out versus Seattle. So, if you've got a Seattle player, DK Metcalf, you got Ken Walker, even Tyler Lockett, I would say go for it. They got a lot of defensive players out or questionable with injuries. Like Troy Hill is questionable. I'm seeing here that a couple of their linebackers are showing up, namely Terrell Lewis, who's been amazing for them. He's out, not playing. Also, their starting QB, Matthew Stafford, is on IR until week 17. So this is going to be a very one-sided game for Seattle. So if you have a Seattle player, make sure you put him in. And if you have a Rams player, I'm really, really sorry. On to the Miami Dolphins. Looks like Teron Armstead is doubtful against San Francisco with the toe and pectoral injury. He did not practice Wednesday or Thursday. He was limited on Friday. So, again, maybe check that very quickly, see if he's in. That's going to mostly, affect the run game. So, I wouldn't be worried about Tua. He was full participant. All of their wide receivers should go off. Looks like they're also going to potentially be missing Austin Jackson with an ankle injury. So something to keep your eye on if Tua's taking a lot of sacks. Maybe start that San Francisco defense. But I'm not too sure about any Miami running backs at this point. None of them are injured, but with Tua linemen out, a good San Francisco defense, I wouldn't chance it personally with playoffs coming up. And then on to the Vikings. Darisaw is back out with a concussion. They've been doing okay without him all year, so I wouldn't be too worried about Dalvin Cook. And then obviously Kirk O'Chains and JJ are going to go off. The New England Patriots, they played on Thursday. So again, if you're watching this video and expecting an injury update for them, it's too late. Sorry, I hope whoever you had in got you some points. Looks like New Orleans Saints, they are on a bye week. So on to the Giants up against Washington. Looks like Bellinger is going to be playing. Everyone else I'm seeing at least is questionable. Dory Jackson will be out. That's going to be a tough loss in the secondary. And then everyone else should be playing. It looks like Darius Slayton, who was sick this week, is trending towards playing. But again, get up early tomorrow. Make sure you double check that he is playing, because if he is, he's worth a flex consideration. Moving on to the Jets. Looks like Michael Carter is doubtful. So that running back room is just super volatile. Mike White might be another consideration against Minnesota. That defense hasn't been amazing this year, but they've been pretty good. So I'm not too sure if he's worth starting. I would advise against it. Obviously, me and Josh on our last episode, the recap, talked about our feelings on Mike White, that we don't like him, we don't want him on our team. So consider it. I think we're going to start to see the transition back to Zach Wilson, but that's just me. Keeping on going to the Eagles. Looks like the only one out is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's still apparently dealing with a kidney injury, so hopefully he's doing okay. But other than that, the only other person I'm seeing on this injury report is Robert Quinn. He will be out as well. But, in terms of offense, it's looking like Miles Sanders is going to have himself a day. It is Tennessee, though. So you might want to put him in the flex if you're going to use him. That is a very bold move. Tennessee's look great in terms of run defense. But, with Jalen Hurts, it might be able to get it going. But still, consideration of throwing him in at the flex and then moving one of your bench running backs up to that RB2 slot. And then on to the Steelers. Looks like the only one showing up on the report here is TJ Watt. That's notable. Looks like he's dealing with a rib injury, but knowing him, he's going to tough it out and probably play. Again, this is going to be a great game. I think the Steelers have a great defense. The Falcons have had a very punishing offense. It's going to be a fun one to watch. And then for the 49ers, Elijah Mitchell did get moved to IR again, in case you missed it. So make sure you put him into your IR slot. And it's going to be all CMC, even though he's dealing with that knee injury. He was a full participant Friday, so I'm assuming they're just giving him some rest. But beyond that, looks like Debo is going to be playing, even though he has that quadricep injury. He listed a DNP on Thursday and then 2 limiteds. but I would assume he's going to be completely fine for the game tomorrow. And then to the Seahawks, looks like they're all doing good. All their DNPs earlier in the weeks were full except for Travis Homer and Josh Jones, but none of those are super relevant to what they're doing. So Seattle should be ready to lock and load against the Rams, and they're just going to absolutely run them over. For the Buccaneers, looks like they are all healthy. I'm not sure about Tristan Wirfs. We don't have a reporting here for today on Saturday. He was a DNP on Friday. I would assume he's not playing. Same with Antoine Winfield. It's looking like he might not play as well, so that's something to keep your eye on. One notable thing, though, Leonard Fournette is back, so that might limit some of Rachaad White's touches. So I don't know if you want to move him back to a flex. That's what I would be doing and putting in another alpha into my RB1 slot. Rachaad White will not be putting up alpha numbers this week. Just, my quick hot take. But it's something for you guys to look out for. But I do believe they are on a bye week this week, same as the Saints. So it should be okay going into next week, into their next matchup. Also looks like for the Tennessee Titans, the only noticeable injury is a bunch of people who play on the bench. Jeffrey Simmons is probably the most notable, but it's looking like he's going to play against Philly. And then finally, the Washington Commanders. Antonio Gibson is still questionable with a foot injury. I expect him to play, so everything should be good on that end. And it looks like Chase Young, this might be his first game back, so that defense might have just gotten a little bit scarier. So thank you for joining me on my little solo adventure here without Ryan and Josh. I know I went a little bit quick, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. And, for the part that I never do, please visit all of our social media at Last Place FP, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We've been receiving a lot of support from you guys, and it's just been incredible. We had no idea it was just going to grow like this. So we are super appreciative of all of you. If you can drop a like, comment, and subscribe with any questions and just to show some support once again. So thank you for joining me here for this episode of News and Injuries, and we look forward to all three being back with you guys tomorrow for a recap. And let's enjoy some good football. We'll see you on the next one.